Hello, everyone. Do you hear me? Yeah, cool. I didn't expect so many people right at the moment where the lunch is there, but thank you very much for being here. So right before we start, let's see how many founders do we have here in the room? Okay, awesome number. How many of you is raising at the moment? Shy people, okay. How many of you have gone through raising already before? Awesome. And how many investors do we have? Huh? Now you can just talk to each other because you're already here, so you can use this time. It's much better than for me to talk. Anyway, okay, let's start this story. Then this story starts with you and your look at the mirror, or if you don't have a mirror, you need to improvise as well. But basically, you need to analyze three questions. First one is, what is your surrounding? Second one is, what is your business idea? And the third one, what can you say about you and your teammates? So, when we talk about the surroundings, why it matters to me? Because if you look, obviously most of us here come from Serbia, and if you look at Serbia as the market, the reality is that we are not as close to the source of the ideas and the source of capital as someone who lives in Sunnyvale, for example. It means that we are also not a huge market if you look at the region itself, and we need to think about what could be our advantage when building a product, when building a startup. So from our experience, based on previous 10 years and 3 acquisitions that we went through working together, the big advantage is when you're first on the market, and that's what we try to do at Attic42. We try to build products and startups that are in the pre-competitive environment, and then you can play for the global market, and then you can win and have the advantage. The second thing is, when you're building a product, you always have some risks associated with that product, and of course there are like 4 pillars of the risk. One is the value risk. Are there people over there who are willing to buy your product? Usability risk, can you build it in a way that others figure out how to use it? Feasibility risk, do you have all the knowledge and the power and resources that are needed to build it? And business viability risk, is the product that you're building aligned with the rest of your business strategy? On the other side, when you're building a startup, it's pretty similar because you need to think about, are there enough people who are willing to pay for it? Can we build it? Can we sell it in a time frame? And can we sustain long enough to reach the break even? So at the end of the day, when building a startup and when building your product, it always comes up to managing all those risks. And the third look is the self-reflection, and you need to be honest and say, what are my strengths? On the other side, what am I missing? In terms of knowledge, in terms of skills, resources. Where will I look for that help? Who can actually help me? And what am I able to offer? So when you answer all these questions, it comes pretty hard to go and talk with people and then to get no as an answer. In order to have a journey to a yes and a positive answer, you need to put yourself in the shoes of others. When I say shoes of others, let's talk a bit about the investment side of the story. In order to understand the investment side of the story, I wanted to go a bit deeper into the history of investment and such. And I said, okay, let's see what's the history of investment. Basically, I realized we as people were able to invest from the moment when we were able to plan upfront enough. What does it mean? From the moment when we had the agricultural revolution, we were able to spend the whole year at one single place. And as we were able to spend the whole year at one single place, and as we were able to plan for the essential needs, such as food, we came to the point to think about, okay, now if I have some extra food, what can I do with that extra food? How can I invest it and earn something else that I need? So when we fulfill our essential needs, and when we are ready to plan upfront enough, that's the moment when we can think about investing. And throughout history, people were investing. It comes with a pretty simple simple formula. You have some resources, some extra resources, you want to invest them, and you expect to get some greater return on investment at the end. So it's pretty simple. The methods were changing over time. So what we know today as modern financial investments were also presented in some ways in ancient Greece, comparing to the banking system today. But what we're particularly interested in came after the World War II and the world of VCs, or venture capital investment. When you're considering what is the right type of investment, you come to that third part of self-reflection. What is the thing that you actually need, and how much man hours, power, and extra help do you need? What kind of help do you need? And of course, there is this financial aspect, which is always in the focus itself. So there are different types based on these two dimensions, human capital and financial capital. There are different types of investment that you can take. And I will start from the venture builder or startup studio that we come from. That's the model of investment where you get by far the biggest man hour and the biggest help hands-on. But on the other side, it's a bit less than VCs in terms of financial capital. And of course, then you have accelerators and incubators, and you have angel investors or individuals or groups of individuals who are investing a bit less of financial investment, but also less of human capital. So when we talk about VCs, there are a couple of things that you need to analyze before approaching them, before talking to them. First one is the location. Why is the location matters? Because if we are talking about US VCs or if we are talking about EU VCs, they have different approach in evaluating your company, in thinking about how they will get their return. US VCs are more focused on the growth potential, while European VCs are more focused on your current revenue and the multiples that you can get from there. Also, you need to think about what is the lifespan of the VC. Usually, it's around 10 years, and to understand where in that lifespan you are at that particular moment and what is their investment cycle. Based on that, you need to understand which investment phase they are focused on and what is their risk tolerance. If they are entering early, obviously they have different model than some VCs who are entering or who are specialized for Series C, for example, and who are getting you prepared for the IPO. So those are all different totally approaches and different stages for you. Of course, you need to understand based on that risk tolerance and based on the phase that they are entering with you, what is their expected return of investment. And ideally, but this is not always easy to understand, you need to be much closer to them to understand what is their actual investment strategy. When I say investment strategy, it means in which industries they are ready to invest, on which geographies they are focused, what are the trends that they think are shaping the industry that we are talking about, what is the throughput or the number of investments that they can handle per year, what are the macroeconomics environment that we are talking about, and such. So you need to analyze all of that, because that will save you a bunch of time not to talk to VCs that you are not suitable for or are not suitable for your idea and your business. And when you are early, resources are pretty important. So time is one of those resources, and you don't have much time until you come to the point to lose your money and to get out of the business. So you need to be very cautious about who you talk about. When we look at this dimension, of course, we all know about product life adoption curve and the life cycle of the product. And when we think about the risk as an important aspect based on this time frame, you come and say, okay, when we cross early market and when we achieve product market fit, it gets much easier because the risk is decreasing. We already know where is our place on the market, and then over time, of course, the risk continues increasing. But anyway, it's much easier. We are all focused in the early phases on crossing this border and coming to the product market fit. And that's how things look like from our perspective. But on the other side, if you look from a VC perspective, risk is going continuously up and down, because from the VC perspective, they are focused on a specific time frame, specific phase, and they don't usually go with you through all these phases. They know when they enter, when they exit, and how they can support you along that part of the journey. So for them, the risk is not the same, doesn't have the same distribution as for you. And when you're getting ready for talking with VCs, usually we divide those talks in three, so to say, simple questions. These are actually simple questions, but they can come up with many other questions after that. First one is, where do you want to be, and can you be there in the future? The second one is where you are at this particular moment, and the third one is, how did you come to this point? It sounds pretty simple, but usually we focus on these during initial talks. We focus on these first two questions. Why is that? Because where do you aim to be and where you can be in the future usually comes up with the pitch deck, and you also cover that. What is your vision? What is your market? What is the problem that you're solving? What is the strategy? What is the plan to achieve that strategy? What finances you need? So you talk about the future and the potential. On the other side, where you are now, you usually talk about your team, your product at this particular moment, what is needed for the adoption and how well you are going through that, and what are the finances at this particular moment. So that's what all of that is familiar. I assume all of us are familiar with this phase. But then you come to something, if you progress with these talks, called due diligence, and then you're more focused on how things stand now and how did you come to this place, because you have then a bunch of other things that you need to cover for these talks and to be ready and to have structured, like what are your, again, finances, but what are the investments so far, how your cap table looks like, what are the options, warrants, convertible safes, affiliates, all the agreements that you have, including agreements with, I don't know, real estate, including agreements with vendors, etc. What are the copyrights? What are the patents that you have? What is the architecture of your product? What are the disputes or lawsuits that you have? Even if it didn't come to the suit, it can be only the email itself as a potential threat. So all of that comes into place when you progress talking and when you go through the due diligence itself. So what we wanted actually to do at Attic42 is not just to focus on the acceleration part, which comes later and which helps you with the growth itself. We wanted to create a journey that will help you with answering all these possible questions and to compress that experience in a short time period. Why short time period? Because you really need to be focused, and you really need to go fast through that journey with validation or devalidation of your idea. So we created an incubation program which lasts for 6 weeks in total. This is just a snapshot of that journey, how that looks like. But the point is that it is a 6 weeks program that goes with you through your risky assumptions, ideation phase as well before that, validation of your idea, then going with you through defining the business model, prototyping, and again, validation, and then getting you ready for all these talks with investment. When we talk about acceleration program, which comes later on our journey, that acceleration program is really focused on helping you not just to launch your product, not just to build the MVP, but also to iterate and to understand how can you reach your growth potential and achieve your product market fit, and it lasts 12 months. But for the incubation, we wanted to compress this experience and to see how you can actually achieve the maximum of this in just 6 weeks. So the next cohort will start in September, and we are currently getting ready for accepting new startups for that cohort. That would be it from my side. Now we can go to questions, or if you're shy, just to lunch.
Much of your work is on VCs, which are in traditional startups. How do you see crypto VCs or crypto investors that invest? How are they different?
Good question. So first of all, if you look at the macroeconomics point, now I think that in general the time frame and what they expect in VCs in general, not just for the crypto VCs, moved later in the phase. So now it's not just enough to have the idea. Now it is not just enough to have the pitch deck. Everyone is ready to listen to you, but on the other side, say to okay, come back to me to talk when you have the first users, when you can monetize it, etc., etc. So they are more focused now on the growth phase. And why does it matter? What does it have to do with the crypto? It is tricky because the whole industry is still early if we talk about the adoption itself in terms of the global market and the users that we have. And now you moved and you shifted the point when VCs are entering the market. So basically, along that journey, somehow you are on your own and you need to validate or devalidate your idea much faster than before. So that's if you look from the macro point, how it looks like. I see less and less people talking about tokens itself, more and more going towards the traditional business models, so to say. And I see more and more advices like how can you actually not just be focused on Web3, but also, focused on the traditional markets and then transitioning and achieving the adoption in the Web3 space. Questions?
Your Founders in Residence program is ongoing, and this compressed program starts in September, or did I misunderstand something? And the applications for the Founders in Residence program, are they ongoing, or do they also start in September?
Good question. Yeah, so Founder in Residence is the name of the whole program itself, which has different phases within it. So now we just added another phase as independent, which is called incubation, but you also have the acceleration, which lasts from 6 to 12 months, but usually it's 12 months. 6 months is not enough, so we don't make deals for 6 months. So yeah, it's the ongoing program because we have cohorts from this year and people that you met and that are pitching now, so you can talk with Route3 and you can talk with Bizlet, and also some of them who are building but not pitching yet. So the program is ongoing. The next cohort for the incubation will start in September, and then we expect out of that incubation to have accepted startups for the acceleration phase and for the entire Founder in Residence for the next year. Yeah, pre-phase, but all of that is Founder in Residence basically.
In what regions do you typically invest? Is it only limited to the Balkans, or is it maybe like Central Europe?
Yeah, we are currently focused. We just launched this publicly 2 months ago, so to say. We shifted us as a venture builder 2 years ago, but we are more internally focused, like entrepreneurship. Now we just adjusted everything and launched a new brand and changed our corporate structure in order to support everything that I talked about. And currently we are focused on the region, but it's not because we want to be just focused on the region. It's more because our hub is here and that's the biggest support that we can provide at the moment. It doesn't mean that we don't want to talk or we don't want to support other regions in the near future. So if you have something to discuss, it's also we can talk now even about that.
Okay, great, thank you.
First time, second time. Huh. Not yet. Not yet.
A single one. What do you think is missing in the Balkans? What do you want us to build?
Good question. Basically, we built our whole ecosystem to answer that question particularly, and how we imagine it. We have different parts of the ecosystem. let me just, I have some bonus slides that I can, not that, not that, not. Yeah, so here you can see two important parts of the ecosystem are 3327 and MVP Workshop. Of course, everything is important, but for this particular question, I will address this. MVP Workshop is the company that we all come from and that we built like 7 years ago, and that's how we went deeper into the Web3 industry itself. And it's a product development studio that works with clients mostly, but that is also supporting our ventures. On the other side, you have 3327, which is doing a deep research for, so to say, applied mathematics and things that are about to come in 2 to 3 years from now. Those are bets, of course, but the point is that you continuously need to explore what is about to come, and then you decide what is what is the time span that you want to address. Of course, you can go more upfront, but for us, this time frame 2 to 3 years is more realistic because we cannot think about what will come 10 years from now and then try to bridge the gap for these 10 years. We need to shorten that time span. Why that matters? It is because 3327 is looking at the technology itself and potential that will come 2 to 3 years now. But on the other side, it's not just enough to talk like this in the closed room. You need to go to the market. And that's where MVP Workshop is very important, because those people are continuously talking with different industry experts, different clients. They have big throughput of ideas circling and going around. And also people who work in MVP Workshop have a chance to touch different parts of the industry in a shorter period of time. And for that reason, you have a window what is actually now happening on the market and what are the current trends. So then you do the intersection of these two parts. You look at what is happening up front, and then or what is your bet that is happening up front, and then you look what is happening now. And when you do the intersection of that, you understand what should be your investment thesis. On the other side, Maria will talk after me, and Maria is coming from 3327, so I assume it will be interesting talk at this same stage, and you will get to know better what 3327 is doing at the moment and what they are betting for in the near future.
Okay, I guess that's it.
Thank you very much.